Well, he's one of the hottest names when it comes to sprint car racing on the West Coast, and he has been making a pretty good mark in the Pacific Northwest, including leading Speed Week Northwest North points going into the Bob's Burgers and Brews Summer Nationals. It's Kalib Henry out of Mather, California, racing for Doug and Kathy Roots this week, and he is our next guest on Getting Up to Speed. We'll hear from him after these messages. Dave's Home Supplies specializes in cabinets, flooring, and countertops. Visit their website at daveshomesupply.com to look at products, services, financing, and even a free estimate. Are you looking for bookkeeping, payroll, or income tax services? Then check out the folks at For You Simple Bookkeeping. They are a licensed tax preparer throughout the entire United States. For more information, click on the link in the description. This broadcast is brought to you by Meat Freaks Jerky Club. Get the best jerky the world has to offer straight to your door by visiting meatfreaksjerkyclub.com. Pick your box and plan, tell them where to ship, and receive and enjoy. Log on to meatfreaksjerky.com and use promo code SPEED. Well, I have with me Kalib Henry. Kalib, it's great to have you as you get set to finish off the final portion of Speed Week Northwest North. You guys have had a really, really good speed week so far. You're still P1 in points. And, man, sensational considering every racetrack that you visited has been for the first time.
Yeah, really been having a lot of fun racing with these guys and had a few little hiccups. But other than that, we've been really fast and I feel like pretty consistent considering I've never seen these tracks and haven't sat in these cars, so we were fast right out of the gate and just had a part failure, and that cost us a little bit, but it was kind of nice to come right out of the gate knowing that we have speed and are in contention for podiums every night.
Yeah, two second place finishes at Grays Harbor Raceway, and then a really good run at Cottage Grove on Wednesday night, finishing third, and you guys really dug deep on Tuesday night at Cottage Grove because you guys were slated to start 6th. Then you had to pull in, started P22, and went all the way to, was it 6th?
Yeah, I ended up 6th. We actually blew up coming to the checkered. So we in the heat race and thrashed to change motors, just didn't make it out in time for the dash and didn't want to push it. Didn't have a chance to go out onto the racetrack before the main event and had 2 fuel lines crossed, so pulled off, and that was, we had to give up our 6th place starting spot, and then I believe I worked all the way back up to 8th at one point, and then got a flat along with, I think there was, 7 or 8 other cars, and had to go to the back again, and drove all the way back up to 6th, so.
Super cool. Travis Roots, Doug and Kathy's son, was known for getting up on the wheel, especially at Cottage Grove and passing cars, and no doubt Travis Roots-esque skill right there. Yeah,
definitely. And Doug's biggest thing this week, just been have fun, and I feel like that's when I'm able to do my best. And he's given me quite a bit of leeway on making the calls and setting stuff up myself. Although we are working together, it's been really nice that he's trusted me to kind of come in and work on my own car and do all the maintenance and everything. Kind of feels like I'm back at home, I'm pretty spoiled. My car owners have been very open in that aspect of things, of letting me work on it and help. So I've been having a great time with Doug and Jim Richmond and Doug Richmond and all those guys. It's been a blast this week for sure.
And how did that partnership kind of formulate? Was there some talk recently, or was this something planned out at the start of the year?
Definitely not planned at the start of the year. I was still actually supposed to be back in the Midwest, and that just kind of didn't work out and ended up back in California. And when Doug found out, he got a hold of me, and I kind of was on the fence on if I was going to be able to make it happen or not. And it boiled down to it that my boss was basically just told me, hey, you need to go and do this. There's no point in missing out on an opportunity. Work will always be here when you get back. So don't let this opportunity pass you up. And, he knows how well I get along with Doug because I ran for him in 2019 at Trophy Cup, and we had a really good run. as well then. So
That's awesome. You mentioned the Midwest. You actually got to run there a little bit this spring, 6th at Houston Speedway, and then a 13th place at Knoxville Raceway. I mean, the exposure to those tracks and the amount of competition that was there had to been just first of all incredible and a huge learning experience.
yeah, I learned a lot back there. It was a big eye opener on how different the racing is back there compared to here at home. Kind of a lifestyle, in my opinion, back there. Where out here, it's just a completely different atmosphere. And I pretty much would do anything I could to get back there again. It's just got to be the right circumstances. Unfortunately, the opportunity I had lined up at the beginning of the year just didn't work out. We didn't see eye to eye, and I have been looking for other opportunities and just haven't had one present itself that's come to life. We're kind of stuck out here on an island, in my opinion, on the West Coast. I know a lot of good drivers come out, from here, but it's just, if you're not living back there, you kind of get forgotten about, I think.
Well, and you've had a really good year overall. Obviously, we'll ask you here in a second to rate how 2023's went from your point of view, but 4 podiums, 3 of which have been this past week, 5 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and right around 17 starts. But you guys did get a win. When I say you guys, Nick McCulloch and you on June 24th at Placerville Speedway.
Yeah, we've. I feel like we've had a pretty good year. We've definitely had a lot of speed, and been pretty consistent. I would definitely like to click off a handful more wins. Obviously, that's everybody's goal. It's like the level of competition that we're racing against week in and week out, whether it's 360 or 410, is just really stout. I mean, if you have 40 cars in the pits, 15 of them can win. So it's tough. You got to be perfect, and it's tough to have those kind of nights. One mistake and you'll run third. So just kind of moving forward, and hopefully another opportunity presents itself back in the Midwest, and been kind of looking around on what the future holds and calling people, and hopefully something like this, catches somebody's eye or catches somebody's ear.
Well, to throw kind of a personal twist to this is for the last, I don't know, couple years, 2-3 years for me personally, I kind of went the IMCA route and traveled to a lot of different IMCA racing where there was no real room for growth for me in sprint cars. I love sprint cars, and obviously I still do. And I came back full in the fold with all the stuff I do with NARC and the things with the Western Sprint Tour and some other things. And I come back and it's like, wow, all these ride changes, it's just been incredible, but I've been paying attention more than probably I ever have in my whole life. And then the World of Outlaws, the close points race going on, the wild and craziness with the All-Stars, all the wonderful things in California with NARC, with the Rising Day, Corey Day, and of course just the incredible weekly action everywhere on the West Coast. 2023 has been wild on one hand and just wonderful on the other.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely what we call been a silly season on everybody kind of changing rides, and people that you thought were secure in one aren't, and some that are. It's kind of one of those things. So I think it's just part of our sport. Nothing's solidified, and you're racing for your job. I know personally, I don't like running second. I think that's just my mentality. And having two seconds this week, I'm definitely happy and would love to win the points deal for them. But second, first loser. So
Sure.
Hopefully can pick something up for these guys. And honestly, if we just keep finishing races up here, I think that we'll be able to win the points, which would be huge. Mean a lot for myself to get that for Doug.
And for Skagit Speedway, which is the culminating 2 rounds for this Northwest or Speed Week Northwest North, have you been watching a lot of film, looking at a lot of video on YouTube?
To be completely honest with you, I knew a fair amount about Skagit just because they had Dirt Cup and all that stuff there not that long ago. But before I had gotten to Elma, I had never seen the racetrack until that morning. And then Sunset, same thing. I've been to Cottage Grove once and never raced.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a general idea on a couple of them, but the other ones I was kind of just going in blind.
Well, and
but
you
luckily,
guys ran there the Friday before Speed Week started. I completely spaced that.
yeah. We were running fourth at Skagit last Friday and broke the left front steering hub.
So you got some unfinished business to do this weekend.
I think that we're gonna have a really good car. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I know there's gonna be a handful more good cars this weekend, but I think that we're gonna be just as strong as those guys.
Well, no doubt. For people that want to check it out, Dirt Oval TV is going to be the location for that, for the pay-per-view, or just go there in person. Better yet, support Sprint Car Racing. Talking about you come from a racing family. Your dad was a pretty successful racer in his own right.
Yeah, so my dad was very successful in the sprint car stuff out on the West Coast in the late 90s, early 2000s, and him and Larry Shelton strung together a lot of wins and championships. And luckily, I have both of them still in my corner. Obviously, my dad, he helps me a ton, and as well as Larry. If it weren't for them, honestly, I don't know where I'd be. They help wrench my stuff even when they're not at the track, and you know, having them in my corner is a huge confidence booster, especially when I'm out on my own and doing, you know, what I love to do. Having them support me is huge.
And his dad, Mike Henry, and your little brother Landon, he's kind of a guy, a potential prospect in the next couple of years, to keep everybody's eyes out.
He's definitely been really good. Very smart racer and makes a lot of good decisions. I'm looking forward to watching him, you know, grow up and get into the sprint car and you know, potentially be racing with me week in and week out. I think that's kind of one of those things that you look forward to as, you know, an older brother, and as probably as a parent. I personally, I don't know, but I'm assuming as my dad and mom, you know, look at it, they're probably looking forward to those too, you know, because they don't get to go to as many as my races because they have to be there for him. I'm old enough now to be able to kind of go out and venture on my own and have opportunities, but I know I'm looking forward to being able to race with them later on in life for sure. Well,
it was so cool, and I can't remember which race it was. It might have been Perpetual Trophy Night or which one it was, but I do know that you were there to just, he did the burnout. He had just had a perfect night at Red Bluff, and you just ran straight to him and just, you guys gave each other the biggest hug I think you could ever have with each other.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm definitely pretty hard on him, but I think that's what makes the difference. My dad was hard on me for sure growing up, and I think, you know, that helps, and I can coach him and kind of driver coach him a little bit and tell him, you know, hey, this or that, where my dad can do that, but me being big brother, I think he kind of tends to listen to me a little bit more on specific things. So I remember that night specifically, I kind of got on him after the heat race because he made a couple little mistakes and told him, you know, hey, you need to, you know, if this person does that, then your reaction needs to be this. And he listened and did it in the main event, and it worked.
Well, and what's so cool is, so the Red Bluff Outlaws, for people listening, you know, in the Midwest or the East Coast, it's basically the birthplace of cage kart racing, which has been the avenue for countless drivers that have went into sprint cars, and even, you know, Tyler Reddick with NASCAR. And it has just been an avenue of success, as well as Cycleland Speedway in the warmer months. But this place, it is tough. Like you said, you know, your dad or an older brother can be tough on you. If they're not, somebody on the racetrack will, and they'll show it with their race car to get you out of the way.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that's probably the toughest place I've ever raced a go-kart at. The competition level is just second to none. Growing up when I was racing there, and it's still really, really stout. I mean, I've actually only got one main event win there. I do have a championship and rookie of the year and a couple other things there, but that place is definitely one of the toughest spots you'll go to in a go-kart.
Well, and what's really neat that I've noticed, again, you know, awareness is like 110% these days when it comes to looking at upcoming talent and everything. Marysville Raceway is like Red Bluff / Cycle Land for, you know, some of those older teenagers that are getting into sprint cars for the first time?
Yeah, I think the toughest place to go right now as a rookie is probably Placerville. There's between 5 and 8 good, cars that can win on any given night. And then if like this weekend, they're going to have the 40 there. I would have to guess there'd be close to, 30 to 40 cars, and there's going to be 10 guys or more that can win.
And that's the race you won last year, right?
I won it in 2021.
2021. Yes, correct. Yes. Gomes won it last year. If I'm now that my history's catching up with me.
Yes. Yep. He did.
But 2023, we're in late July. We're pretty much to August. What's the rest of the schedule looking like for you? Is it going back to pairing up with Nick McCulloch for some 360 shows? Is there some 410 stuff sprinkled in there?
Yeah, definitely. We will. We'll finish the year out with Nick, and we'll run Gold Cup and Trophy Cup, Fall Nationals, and pretty much for the most part all the bigger races. We're kind of looking for somebody to potentially sponsor a 360 so we can run some more shows. But yeah, I mean, there's probably another 10 to 15 races we're gonna run with him, and then just kind of go from there and potentially have something else lined up. Hopefully, whether that comes to life or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say 2024, anything immediate. Obviously, you're making phone calls and just hoping you get some green lights versus red lights.
As of right now, nothing super solidified. No, I am going to run for Cruz Pedregon again, and we're supposed to run the Chili Bowl and possibly the West Coast Swing when the USAC comes out this way, but not 100% sure.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I know that you've just came into your own the last few years as a sprint car racer. Outside of the race car, you're from the Sacramento area, Mather to be more specific. What for you? What is some cool things to do when not working around race cars?
Honestly, I'm pretty much either working or racing. Sometimes go out to the lake or whatnot in the summer, and then I really like snowboarding in the wintertime. Given that I didn't really go this last year, just knowing that I knew I kind of had a really big 2023 coming up and didn't want to have any injuries, so sure. I pretty much sat that out. But I mean, there's plenty to do. I mean, Sacramento is a well-populated area with a lot of restaurants and just there's Top Golf and the casinos and whatnot. So I mean, there's always plenty to do. But for the most part, I'm either racing or working. Those are kind of my main two things.
Awesome. Well, that's super cool. Anybody that you want to thank, and this can be for Nick's team and even for Doug's team, people, sponsors that have made 2023 possible?
Yeah, honestly, if it wasn't for my dad and Nick, as well as Stephen Ponzo and Russell Case, I wouldn't be able to do half the stuff I was able to. And Brian Sperry, my boss at CNH Veteran Enterprises, they kind of let me come and go as I please and give me time off whenever I need.
Well, cool. Awesome. We look forward to seeing how everything else is going to progress here for 2023, especially this weekend for the Summer Nationals at Skagit.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the interview, race fans. Again, be sure and hit like, subscribe, and get the latest and greatest news, whether it's getting up to speed, inside NARC, or sprint car news today. If you subscribe on the YouTube channel, it'll get you those notifications as soon as all the new episodes come out. In the meantime, everybody have a great rest of your day, night, whatever time you're listening, and we'll be back next time with more stuff from Highside Racing Promotions.